All right. Welcome, everyone. I see we have one person right now. Hopefully a couple more will be joining us. Happy Tuesday. Great. Yes, we do have some more. Awesome. Happy Tuesday, everyone. Thank you for joining Tool Time Tuesday. We're going to get started about in a minute. So thank you for joining. If you want to let us know where you're joining us from in the comments, that's always great to see. Feel free to put it in the chat.
Following display.
All right. Well, it is 12. Hopefully we get a couple more people to join us today, but I want to make sure that we have plenty of time to go through everything we want to go through today. So welcome to those who are joining us. I'm Andrea Young, the communications lead for ECAC, and today I have with me Nicole Bougie and April Kountz from the Exceptional Family Member Program, or EFMP. That program is a mandatory program for all Navy dependents with any chronic condition lasting 6 months or longer. And April and Nichole are both case liaisons for EFMP, and they'll be talking about their role and how they can help families. So thank you so much, Nichole and April, for joining us, and I'm going to give it right over to you.
Thank you so much for having us. Yes, we work with Navy families. Every branch of the military has this program. It is a mandatory program for all branches of the military. Any dependents that of a military member that have chronic medical conditions or educational or mental health needs are to be enrolled in the EFMP program. It is to help promote mission readiness and operational support as well, and make sure that the families are taken care of so that their service member can focus on the mission at hand. And we, as case liaisons, or some of the other branches call it case managers, we help them navigate all the resources where they are stationed within the military and the civilian area surrounding them, to make sure that they're being able to access all those programs to help benefit the family. So, and it also, the program enables, the continued care for that family member throughout the service member's career. It continues on with them through their whole career while they're active duty. And it's to help the military retain that top quality personnel, and again, make sure that they can focus on the mission and not be stressed about those things going on at home. Oh, no. Sorry, it's going,
I do see that. I see that someone raised their hand. I'm not sure if they meant to or not, but Aaron, do you have a question or did you mean to raise your hand?
I did not mean to raise my hand. I'm so sorry.
Not a problem. Thought I would check. Thank you.
Yeah, we can take questions at any time. So feel free to stop us at any time. Oh, and I went back to the
Other screen.
It's not wanting to go.
There it is.
There we go. So the benefits of the EFMP program is that EFMP case liaisons provide non-medical case management to all of our service members, their families, like I said before, to help with that, accessing programs such as like Medicaid waivers in the state. We help with special education questions. Understanding the special education process in each state can be very different because there's different verbiage terminology that different states use. So those are the things that we help with under the non-medical case management, and help answer questions about TRICARE and finding providers in the area and helping with all those referrals to the different resources. There's so many resources out there for the families that it can be overwhelming. So that's what we're here to help with, and keep their mind at ease that, there's not the only ones going through this. Personally, I've gone through this, and April we're both military spouse I had 2 children in the EFMP program that used it for a very long time. So it's a great program. There's lots of resources and things out there for us to help with. We can even attend IEP meetings with our families now too.
Mhm.
That's a newer role that we have, so we can go with them to the meetings to be there as a support and take notes in that capacity.
And we can also help with TRICARE. So say, for example, you're having issues with appointments, we can actually call contacts, and we have contacts that we can call to help get those referrals changed, or to get, not necessarily maybe push an appointment, but it has happened occasionally in my almost 8 years that they can't get an appointment and make a few phone calls, and all of a sudden they can get an appointment. So we can help with that too if there's issues.
Or kind of working through situations. That made me think, I had a service member that moved to the area remote location because we didn't say this before, but we cover the whole state of North Carolina for the Navy. So we have families across 43 of the 100 counties. So a lot of our families live in remote locations. So trying to navigate where those children's hospitals are and the wait time and referrals, and contacting them to see who can get the child in sooner to be seen once they've transferred to the area. Just kind of talking through that process and what that looks like can be helpful to our families. So those are a few of the things that we help with. So the military branches have a EFMP app. So all the instructions are located on this app. There's a new instruction for the Department of Defense that came out in June of 23 that mandates all branches of the EFMP military EFMP programs go purple, so that it's all similar across the board for all branches. So there's lots of changes coming. The Navy, we've kind of seen the most amount of changes because some of the other branches didn't have respite care for EFMP, and the Navy did. And so they're losing some of their respite hours where other branches are gaining, and just different pieces to it. We can start helping with the detailing process. If our service members are running into issues, we can help them send an email up to see if they are able to request stabilization, along the lines of some of the other things other branches do that the Navy wasn't necessarily helping with before. And so this app is a great place to find out all of the instructions and the updates and messages that are sent out, as well as making sure their emails are up to date in our record accountability system, and checking with their case liaisons too, or case managers, for any updates.
Okay, so for Fleet and Family Support Center, so Nicole and I are actually housed in what's called Fleet and Family Support Centers, or FFFCs. And every service that is in that building is completely free. And it's to all active duty retirees. As long as they're an ID card holder, they can get any of the services there. And like I said, they're completely free. Every Navy base has a Fleet and Family. Nicole and I are actually fortunate. Our location is in Chesapeake, Virginia, and we are outside of the gate. So those that have ID cards that maybe have just gotten expired, or there's a reason why they don't have an ID card right now, we will still talk to them and help them to get what they need, to get whatever's going on. I'll let you go.
I'll control.
So us as a building, it's like a one-stop shop. So we have employment family readiness. That program alone is for like spouses, children, things of that nature. And I actually kind of took part of that. When I was a spouse and ready to go back full time, I didn't know what I wanted to do. So I went to my local Fleet and Family and said, okay. And I ran into somebody that I had known and I asked them about resumes and how do you get a job? And he sat down with me and did my resume, helped me apply for jobs. And I started as an admin for Fleet and Family. And then a year and a half later, I put on EFMP. So finding a job and having somebody do that resume for you is, amazing, and to help you find that. Family advocacy. That's basically what that is, child abuse, unfortunately, or any type of abuse. We have counselors that deal with that. So that goes hand in hand with the counseling. Counseling, we all know, is expensive, and we can offer it to active duty members and their families for free. Now, each center is different. Sometimes they will do retirees, but for the most part, it's mainly going to stick to mainly the active duty. But we're not going to turn away a veteran or a retiree of any branch. We're gonna, if we can't see them, we're gonna find somewhere that can. Financial management. They do budgets. They do classes on how to buy a car, how to buy a house. When you get these young families that have never done any of that stuff, they don't know how to go about it, try to be smart about buying big purchases. They can help a family get back on track. We do aid with deployment and when the reservists mobilize. So we do have people that can help with that as well. As those that are familiar with the military know, summer is a big PCS time or move time. We have people that can help with relocation. That helps them get that move set up, helps to make sure that when they get there, that they can secure their belongings. We have a point of contact, the person that works in our building, she's been doing it for years. And she does it over the phone. She'll do it in person. She'll come to you if she has to. But I can tell you, with her knowing her knowledge, I've seen her where somebody has moved overseas and they're having a hard time getting their stuff out of storage. I've seen her make a few phone calls and within 24 hours, they're getting their stuff delivered. So I tell families all the time, utilize that. You've got somebody that's on your side to help with that relocation because that's a lot. Ombudsmans, they help with that as well. With each command should have one, or depending on the situation. And that's their liaison between the command and the family. So we help with training of those. Navy Gold Star programs, those are for those that have fallen soldiers. And we help support those families. There's activities, there's events that we help support with as well. One of the other big things is transition, because a lot of people don't realize that when people are when you've got your sailors or any active duty transitioning from active duty life to retire life, that's a huge change. And they may not know what to do or what to expect. And that transition person can help with that. They can help with your VA benefits to make sure you're getting everything you're entitled to. If you're having issues with the VA claims, things like that, they can help that. They can help look for jobs, get that resume ready for after the military life. If that's what if you're wanting to go into the workforce after. I touch base on counseling. It's free. Our location, we're in Chesapeake. Our sister center is in Portsmouth, Virginia, at the Naval Hospital. They actually have child counselors. Not every center is lucky to have a child counselor, but we have one. And like I said, it's completely free. And then of course, life skills education, because being a military spouse is something that a lot of people don't realize how different it is. And believe it or not, they actually have classes on not really how to be a military spouse, but how to adjust to a point.
Understand the lingo, the
Yeah.
verbiage, all the acronyms.
Yes. The fact that, and the resources of, okay, now my spouse is gone. What do I need to do? So we offer everything's free. And since COVID, they do some online. So you can do, virtual or in person. But if there's ever questions or anything, you can give any Fleet family a call and they can get you in the right direction to help with pretty much anything and everything under the sun. So that's pretty much
Yeah, and we work with EFMP touches in all these programs. And so we work really closely with all of our staff members. There's a new flex savings account plan that came out for EFMP families with the military. And so our financial management counselors, they help with those questions, and we get our families, in touch with the relocation piece and the transition with transitioning their TRICARE from active duty to retiree and losing some of those EFMP benefits that they had being an active duty family. That can really be a big change for families. We went through that process personally about 3 years ago, and we lost our respite care, EFMP respite care, and working through that and making sure we had the Medicaid waivers and stuff in place, and what TRICARE plan are we picking when we transition? And now there's getting that secondary dependency piece and going through it personally. I've been learning a lot of the struggles and stuff that our families see that we as case liaisons didn't really know until, I started going through it personally. Things that they were looking for and asking for. And it's been an interesting process. And I share that with all my families and my colleagues because it helps everybody learn, know how to help our families better.
Yeah, and understand that we know what they're going through. We've been there, we've done it, and that, because there's some families that they just think that you're a person over the phone or a person that you're talking to, and they don't realize that, yeah, you're giving them the information, but you've actually lived it and you know it. And a lot of families don't realize that. So they just think you're just that warm body, just like, oh, they're just gonna tell me to do this. They don't know. But if they realize that you've gone through it or you've got some type of personal touch to it, then they're more apt to kind of warm up to you and say, okay, this is what I really need. Because believe it or not, we'll get a lot of phone calls. We're good. We don't need anything. Until we start diving into it, saying, well, have you thought about this? Have you thought about that? And that's when they're like, oh, well, I didn't realize you did that. So when Nichole says we do a little bit of everything, we do a little bit of everything.
Yeah.
Some things are pleasant, some things I hate to say are not, because we deal with it all. So, we might deal with a success story, but then the next day we might deal with, unfortunately, someone passing away. So, we have a little bit of everything, depending on what the situation is. So,
yeah. And random questions like helping get out of a deployment or I don't want to go on deployment. Like,
yeah, how do I get out of deployment?
we get that. Like,
I know one thing we're kind of been working with the TRICARE. There's been a lot of TRICARE issues, and I hate to say TRICARE not paying their bills, but they've been getting a lot of time. Hey, TRICARE didn't cover this. Or my provider's going to drop me because their bills aren't being paid by TRICARE. That's when they came to us and we can go, okay, this is what you need to do, or here's who to contact. So, and help and try to get that taken care of too. So, the resources are a lot, and if we don't have it, we'll find it. It might take a day or two or a week.
Yeah.
But we'll find it.
Because we connect with lots of community partners, like all the parents at ECAC. We've done a lot of different things with ECAC and other parent centers and the other resources like Down Syndrome Foundation Association and Autism Society. Like we connect with all those local agencies and the Trillium and attend those community collaborative meetings and work with other agencies and network to make those connections and be able to put out the questions to ask to find the resources for our families.
Right. Because I know living in North Carolina is a lot different than some of the other states because the majority of the states is rural. So if you came from San Diego and then now you're in North Carolina, all those things that might have been at your fingertips, now you're just like, okay, I'm 30 minutes away from the closest grocery store. Or there's like for us in Currituck, believe it or not, there is not a pharmacy in this whole county. So for our families that may only have one car, how are they going to get that medication if they're not delivered to your door? So,
and that's not something we really have around here because it's so rural.
Yeah. I mean, people say, oh, just Uber. We don't have Ubers. We can't grub up. We can't, come like 8 o'clock. I think most things are closed.
Yeah.
So we get it. And once our families realize that we live in North Carolina too, they get it. And they're like, oh, so you understand what we're going through. So,
Mhm.
I mean, I think that's,
Yeah, I think that we can open it up for questions.
Yeah, definitely. Thank you so much. Anyone have any questions? Feel free to put that in the chat. I know we had a lot more people join us, so thank you for joining us today. While we're waiting to see if there's any questions, I'm going to go ahead and launch a quick poll. If everyone could fill that out, that would be great. The grants that we work on require that we report back to them that what we're doing is useful, relevant, and of high quality. So we appreciate your feedback. And there it is. So please fill that out. It's just a couple quick questions.
and we tell, Nicole and I do tell families too, when we are doing events and stuff, if you're non-military, still take our information because we have so many resources that are civilian, that we can still put you in contact with whatever that you might need. We may not be able to go to an IEP meeting or go do certain things, but we can still give you plenty of civilian resources and point you in that right direction to get what you might need. So,
And I guess we should mention the IEP meeting thing. We can go with our active duty military families, but our retiree families we can't attend with. That's what, that's a couple of the things that change when you go from active duty to retiree. But our goal is that by us attending and helping them learn what their rights are and understanding special education and teaching them how to advocate and what questions to ask, that by the time they've retired or moved on to the next duty station, that they'll be able to continue that advocacy by themselves.
I mean, we're still a phone call away. We tell families that are retiring, keep our information. Yes, we're not going to do your case management anymore. So we won't be doing the quarterly calls like we're supposed to, or the monthly or whatever we set up with the families. But if you ever need a resource, hey, I'm having this issue, can you give me something? We can still do that. Even if they tell us, oh, we're going to move back to, say, Texas or wherever, we can put you in contact with that case liaison that's covering that area that can give that local resource. So.
We had one question about what is your contact information?
Oh, yeah, I was gonna, that was a bit, because I was gonna go to the next slide
Yes.
and put up my contact information so that everybody had that.
Yep, that's our work phone number, cell phone, office numbers, and so.
And unfortunately, we're having issues with people's emails not coming through to us. And so if you send an email and you don't get a response from us in a couple days, give us a call and leave us a voicemail. If we're not in the office, leave us a voicemail and we will get back to you as soon as possible.
Yes, and I was just going to say for the person that asked, are you going to share the slides? Yes, we will be sending out an email with that, with the slides, and we are recording this, so it will, if you joined us late, you'll be able to view the entire presentation. So I will include the link to that as well.
Right. And if you're not Navy, and are a different branch, you can still call us. We can put you in contact with the other branch that you are representing or with. So we do have contacts, I think, with everyone now.
With all the North
North
Carolina branch EFMP case managers.
Mhm.
So they call them different things. Most are case managers. I think we're the only ones that are case liaisons.
Yeah.
So, but we have contact with all of the other branches throughout the state, so we can get them in contact with who they need to be with.
Yep.
Great. Thank you so much, April and Nicole. This is invaluable resources for everybody, and we're so glad to get that information out if people don't know about it. Any other questions from anyone? We're getting a lot of thank yous, so thank you again.
Thank you.
Thank you for having us.
And if there are no more questions, we will give you a few minutes back. I will mention that next week, next Tuesday, April 29th, we will be talking about accessibility and travel, which is very timely as the summer quickly approaches. We will be joined by Philip Woodward, who is talking about the document he created, and it's called Access North Carolina. So it'll help you understand where you can travel and accessibility to those different things across North Carolina. So that will be great to hear him. But any other questions? I hope everyone enjoys their Tuesday. Thank you again to Nicole and April. We appreciate your time and have a good rest of your Tuesday.
You too.
Thank
Thank
you.
Thank you.